Go ahead, your take. I have a prediction of what your take's going to be.
I'm sick of banging on Durant for this.
Thank you.
Like, he is who he is. He's never wavered.
Yes.
His belief is the coach is the leader. I'm the bucket getter.
Hello?
Leave me alone.
It works.
Now, we can say that does not follow in the footsteps of the greatest of the greats, and it's a hindrance to him. That's almost a separate discussion, but it's not like Durant is out here being like, I'm the best leader in basketball. Right. He has been who he is. But here's my other take. Who are leaders in the NBA? Who do we know? So I made a list, guys. LeBron,
right?
Giannis, Jimmy, unequivocally, leaders. So now I'm just going to go. That doesn't mean that's the whole list, but quick. Does Boston have a leader? Do the Cavs have a guy that we know is a better leader than Kevin Durant?
Donovan's.
He is? Based on what?
I think you do.
Based on what?
And I would, but here's what I think Jason Tatum, look.
Is a better leader than Durant?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you're not going to, because I was going to say.
And Steph, definitely.
So I thought Draymond was the leader.
I think Draymond is in one sense, but Steph sets the culture like Tim Duncan did in San Antonio.
I like that.
He's definitely the leader.
Steph was a question. Is Jokic a leader? Is Luka a leader? My point is this. I think
Jalen Brunson. Do you
Jalen
have
Brunson's a leader.
Jalen Brunson's
He's
top
definitely a
tier.
leader.
So
Dame is a leader.
Dame is a leader.
Yeah.
What evidence do we have that Dame is a better leader than Kevin Durant?
What are we talking about?
Exactly. There is a few guys who it's like what they really mean is able to be the best player on a champion and have everyone follow them. LeBron, Jimmy hasn't been the best player on a champion. He's been banging on the door. Giannis, I think the Steph thing's weird because he's been with Draymond, but that's fine. My point is, like, we're banging on Durant for something. Do the Clippers have a leader? I don't think so. I do not think so. Russ, from the sixth man role?
Tyler.
He's exactly. So I just think it's unfair to KD.
All right, look. It's interesting because, and I know he and Draymond and KD have had their issues recently, but Draymond sitting there looking at Barkley and doesn't say, oh, I played with him for 3 years. All right, and you're wrong about that. He just sits there and lets it go. Now, I don't know if he said something earlier in the broadcast or whatever, but at that moment, he didn't say anything. And secondly, KD's own words. To kind of to your point, Nick, KD says, I don't want to have to be the leader.
Oh.
I'm not a leader.
Well, there you go.
I'm bad at saying stand behind me and follow me. No, I'm one of those guys that's just like, let's do this blank
that
together.
That was 7 years ago.
But that's who he is. That's when he was actually at the height of his career. Was going to Golden State, obviously, that year. And so, look, it's interesting what you brought up because I think there's leadership and there's strength of personality. And KD is strong, obviously, in his own way. But you look at his teams, Russell Westbrook's stronger personality. So he was like the strongest personality on that team in OKC. In Golden State, obviously, you have Draymond, and then it was just Steph's team. In Brooklyn, Kyrie was the strongest personality. I mean, he really was. And that has been a hindrance to KD.
But he's the strongest personality in Phoenix.
I'm not sure. The question is Devin Booker a leader? And I'm not saying he's not. I don't know. But I don't think I think clearly, by KD's own mouth, he's not a leader, and it does hinder that team. And so Book's got to step up and be the leader if indeed it's in him.
Okay. The guy's averaging 28 points. Only 5 guys have scored more this year. He's got the 4th most minutes, 37 minutes. He's 35 years old on a rebuilt Achilles.
Well, leading by example.
Right, but I guess
the guy's just going to work for like over a decade, and it's like,
I guess my point is, like, you guys said Jalen. I think people would say Shea or Anthony Edwards. At this point in
Anthony Edwards is
I think people would assume he's their leader.
He's playing regular games left-handed.
He's changed that
right,
culture.
But the point I'm making is when KD was at that stage of his career in OKC, no one thought he wasn't a leader. It's now like retroactively.
They just knew he was a great player. I don't know if anybody thought he was a leader.
Not everyone's as lucky as us to have someone come in like Kevin Wildes and just announce, I'm the leader, follow me.
You got to say it. You got to say it early and often. Your reaction, Brew.
It was good advice from Shaq. He's absolutely right. I mean, Giannis, Doc, and Dame are going to take a hit if they don't at least get to the finals. We know Doc's going to be criticized, right? If they somehow got beat in the second round again. Dame will be criticized because Dame was like, he was safe in Portland. We knew
kind of
they
a
weren't
free
good
roll.
enough to win. Right. Nobody cared that he wasn't defending. He could just go out there and get 30 and everybody gives him love. And Giannis, even though he's got the one title, we thought, could this guy ever get himself to the GOAT conversation? Now nobody's really thinking that, but he's got rings to win and you got a great teammate in Dame. I think, though, one of their challenges there, I've said this about today's players. A lot of them, they work really hard. But they work hard on what they want to work on, and they work hard on what they're already good at in a lot of cases. A lot of today's players, including the stars, they don't add stuff, or they don't work at what they don't like or what they don't want to do. And when you watch the Bucks, we all thought the Giannis Dame pick and roll would be great. They don't run it that much, all right?
That's coaching, right?
Some of it's coaching, some of it's Giannis has not been rolling as much sometimes to the basket, where obviously he could do damage. He pops even though he's not a shooter. So I think they need to, that's what I'm talking about with him, work on some of that interior scoring. He was interior scoring when he had 64. And Dame, what Shaq could have also said is, look, I know you've never really been a defender, but Dame, to win championships, you got to defend.
Well,
and I think Dame's got to buckle down. So he don't really want to defend. He got to buckle down on defense. Giannis doesn't really want to roll to the basket and stuff like that. He got to start doing that. They got to do, that's how they lead. Lead by example and have these guys watch you. Then you can cuss them out or whatever Shaq said you need to do.
So, Wilds, I think the Bucks stock is too low right now.
Oh.
I mean, I think 9 months ago, you were bringing a live deer to the set because you believed in them that much before they got Dame. After they got Dame, I'm going to reveal something to the audience. One of the reasons we were like, you know what, we'll do our NBA picks once football's over. One of the reasons was we talked about it and we were like, I think we all like Milwaukee, and that's not you. We're obviously not going to pick someone we don't believe in, and it wasn't going to create a lot of intrigue if we all had the same team. So we said, let's wait and see. And now I know you would pick Denver, and I don't think you'd pick Milwaukee to be playing Denver. And I know my guess is
Boston
Nets Clippers like usual, but not Milwaukee.
No.
And I think that ultimately.
So you got Milwaukee.
I think right now they are a valuable stock. I think right now they have been I think right now America believes in, for example, the Clippers way more than they believe in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. I think right now, obviously, everyone believes in Boston more than they believe in Milwaukee, even though we haven't seen Boston do it. We have seen Giannis do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not acting like it's perfect, and there haven't been serious warning signs. Most notably, their defensive rating has plummeted, and we knew it would get worse when you go from Drew to Dame. But I don't know if we knew it would have this significant of a drop-off. But what they do have that they didn't have last year is, at the end of these playoff games, someone who just go get a bucket in a way different than Giannis can, and Dame can still do that. So I don't think Doc's the perfect coach, and I don't think they're a perfect team, but I think they are being kind of like, it hasn't looked exactly the way we wanted it to, therefore, and I still think they are as dangerous as anyone in the East.
They're still the second best team in the East with Embiid out, for sure.
You know what that was?
What?
Remix of a Chiefs take.
What's that?
That's a remix of a Chiefs take.
What's how so?
Midwestern team with an all-time great player who doesn't look right in the regular season, but maybe later on it starts to coalesce. And if that defense can get better, and you got an ultimate closer now,
I mean, it wasn't intentional, but as you're describing now the Bucks aren't the defending champs, and I don't think Giannis has earned the deference that Mahomes has. But I do think he might be the best player in the league. And Giannis. Yeah. And at worst, he is at worst third.
Right.
And you know what I mean? At worst, top three. And so I just think Milwaukee is, if we get Milwaukee-Boston in a playoff series, I think I'd pick Milwaukee.
Do you think it's at all analogous, Brew, to like when Harden showed up at the Clippers and we were like, this doesn't work? And then they figured it out and ripped off.
The Doc showing up?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a little bit of like weathering period, and then it takes off.
Well, I definitely think they'll adjust. Doc and them will adjust, and they'll play much better under Doc going forward. No question about that. With Harden, look, and we'll get into this at some point, one thing that made that work, Russell Westbrook's humility in being willing to go to the bench. The problem, you guys know, I've always said Harden is a great point guard when he wants to be. He showed it in Brooklyn in the brief time they had with Kyrie and KD.
They didn't have enough time.
No, they were all hurt. I'm just saying. But he is a great point guard. Now he's doing it with PG and Kawhi and Russ coming off the bench. That was the problem. All four of them. The four of them can't be on the floor together.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.